Welcome to Pushing Forward with Alycia, a podcast that gives disability a voice. Each week, we will explore topics like confidence, ambition, resilience, and finding success against all odds. We are creating a collective community that believes that all things are possible for all people. Open hearts, clear paths, let's go.
I'm Alycia, and today we have Paralympic gold in the house. I'm so excited. We have gold medalist in archery, Jason Tabansky.
How's it going?
Hey, it's so good to see you again. Thank you so much for being willing to sit on this with me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So I want to give a little context of, I'm going to just go ahead and call it out, our friendship and how we met, because we recently just met literally on the streets of Paris. Right after you won the gold medal, we were like crossing the street, and Marty is famous for every time he sees what he calls us wheelers, he wants to stop, meet, and have some conversation. And so I'm pretty sure that's how the conversation began. I might be wrong, but we were literally crossing the street in Paris, and we meet you and your lovely, amazing partner in crime and archery and in life, Courtney. And we ended up talking in the middle of the street. It felt like for an hour.
Yeah,
Sleep.
that sure was.
And you started telling us your amazing story. So I'm going to give you a short introduction, but I wanted you to share everything about you because your life story is so cool and so powerful. So I'm really excited that you were willing to do this. So I said Jason had just won Paralympic gold. Your journey began in the military service. Thank you for your service. I can't wait for you to tell this story. And you have since become a professional Paralympic athlete in archery. And I'm excited to hear your path with disability, if you don't mind, your path in the military, and how we have gotten to where we are today. So, can we start with your career in the US Army and your tour? Like, maybe you can paint a picture of your career, your military career, and then also share a little bit about your disability, whatever you're comfortable with, that I believe entered your life around 2015.
Yeah, I'll take you back to the beginning. I'm an only child, grew up in a single parent home in South Texas. I decided to join the military when I was 17. I was a senior in high school. And where I come from, there wasn't a lot of opportunities that was catching my attention. So I didn't know what I was going to do. Definitely didn't want to go to college because I hate school. I was one of those guys that I could ace a test without studying because I hated homework, but I was just a really good test taker. So I took a test for the military. I took the ASVAB. I scored really well. Decided to join the Army right after graduation. I actually spent the summer at home. That's how I picked my job, which job was going to let me spend the summer at home. And joined in August of 2001 when I was 17. Turned 18 in basic, went through 9/11 in basic training, then my tech school. And next thing you know, I served a tour in Afghanistan in 2002, came back home, went to Iraq in 2005 through 2006, went to South Korea after that. And I was there for 3 years. But in that period of time, I met my wife, Courtney. She was teaching English there. She's Canadian and was doing, there's a lot of English teachers in Korea. So she chose to go do that. And we just met on a very random night that had no intentions. I had no intentions of meeting anybody. I just wanted to go show my friends around. And next thing I met her, and we haven't been apart since May 24th of 2008. But got home from Korea and I was stateside for 3 years, decided I needed to get back out. Went to Germany in 2012, and that included another tour to Afghanistan from 2012 to 13. And in 2015, while stationed in Germany, my friend Ryan and I were the two senior crew members. So I was a helicopter mechanic and I was a crew member instructor and flight crew. So Ryan was the senior instructor. I was a senior platoon sergeant and also a crew instructor. And there's this mission to London to go showcase our helicopters and try and sell them to the rest of the world at this big expo. So Ryan and I, pinpointed as the two senior guys, go to London, set up shop, having a great week. And towards the end of the week, I was rushing down the aircraft after covering it up in the beautiful London rain, and I missed a step and slipped, fell on my feet from about 5 feet off the ground, yanked my shoulder really hard, and I thought that was the end of it. Just I'm gonna be sore tomorrow. But I woke up the next day with shoulder pain and neck pain, and that kind of got under control with some meds. Following day, I woke up with upper back pain and my neck was frozen. So I actually went to the ER, got seen, got a little bit stronger in pain meds. No issue. Went home, went back to the hotel, went to work, got done with the expo. We're packing up. Now it's the weekend. It's Saturday morning. We were supposed to go fly our aircraft and reposition it to a military airfield because the place where we were at had shut down and everything was packed up. So I get up where I wake up in the morning and I go to sit up and I can't, like my body's frozen from the waist up, and freaked out a little bit because I can't move from the waist up. I asked my friend Ryan, he was also my roommate. I said, "Hey man, can you help me stand?" Grabs my hand, helps me get on my feet, and I landed on my knees.
Oh my
The
God.
pain was unbearable. Couldn't handle it. Couldn't move. Ryan went to work. I stayed back. I called an ambulance actually and went to the ER again, same ER. Got seen. They gave me some muscle relaxers and painkillers and sent me back on my way. They refused to do imaging at the time, even though I was requesting it. But the doctor thought that I just had some muscle damage, straining. He thought I was going to be fine, and that I just had to go back to Germany, see a doctor there. That night, I woke up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock, as my body was shutting down. And again, I freaked out because I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was having a reaction to medication, thinking that I've never taken it. I believe it was Valium that they gave me. Never taken this. It's affecting me. I need to go to the hospital because I'm having an allergic reaction or something. But the ambulance crew showed up, and that next hour, I went from sitting up in bed to being completely paralyzed and becoming a quad within an hour. Got taken back to the hospital, run through imaging, and everybody freaked out because they thought I had a hemorrhage from C4 to T4. Got rushed into surgery, came out 8 hours later, and doctor said that I had a massive epidural abscess from C4 to T4 that was compressing my spinal cord and had bruised my spinal cord. And he just gave me a deer in the headlights look and said, "I really don't know what's going to happen. I can't tell you what your prognosis is going to be because this is extremely rare and we have never seen one in this hospital. So we'll see what happens the next couple weeks." And when I came out of surgery, I wasn't able to move from the shoulders down. I was extremely paralyzed, and it freaked me out a little bit because I couldn't move my arms. I couldn't move anything. I could shrug. And I remember that night, I just went back to sleep. It was my first day out of surgery, still going through pain management. I got really drugged up that night and went back to bed and woke up about a day and a half later. And Courtney was there. She had gotten flown in. She's at my bedside when I woke up. I just remember looking at her, and my first instinct was to wave at her, and picked up my arm and it worked. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's new." Doctor came in and I said, "Hey, doc." And he saw that and he was surprised. He said, "Okay, that's a good sign. That means that things are going to start healing back and going back into place." And he told me, he said, "I don't know how much you're going to get. I'm not here to tell you that you're never going to walk again, but I'm here to tell you that you're probably not going to be running a marathon in your lifetime. So we'll see what happens." And yeah, through the next 6 months, I got transferred from London to Germany to Walter Reed in DC, finally transferred me to a spinal cord rehab here in San Antonio. And I went through 5 months of intense rehab, and they taught me how to live again. They taught me how to manage basic life in a wheelchair. But for me, that was a really big turning point in my life because that's where I discovered adaptive sports. I hung on to adaptive sports as a new purpose, a new reason. And adaptive sports gave me goals, and those goals helped better my life. Yeah, that's how I went from being an only child in South Texas to being in the military for 15 and a half years. Got to travel and see the world and do a whole bunch of really cool stuff and meet a lot of really awesome people that have become my family and are still part of my life. And then going through injury, going through that transition, finding a new purpose and a new goal in life and just making the best of it.
You said a couple things that are so beautiful, so I want to repeat it. Number one, I love that you woke up and you saw Courtney. Like your relationship with Courtney is so beautiful, and you two have such a powerful partnership. And so, for you to have that moment where you wake up and wave to her, and your body is starting to recoup and work, is absolutely beautiful, and it almost shows like the power of love a little bit. So it's so beautiful. Uh, and then also, I feel like that mission to find a new goal, it feels like that's the kind of person you are in 17, going into the military, climbing up the ranks, like having all of these massive achievements, being overseas and going to Afghanistan and all these places to serve for us and so powerful. And then you have this injury and you go to rehab and you're like, okay, what is my next goal? It feels like it's inherent in you to have something to strive for that is big and powerful and strong. And so, congratulations on just being resilient in that way, too. It feels like it's inherent in who you are. I'm just assuming, but I see the dots connected. How did you find archery? It's for me, archery seems like such a foreign sport. And it was
Okay.
so cool to meet both of you and Courtney, because you both are archers. I think I'm saying that right, and are really good at it. Like, how did you go from finding adaptive sports to finding a specific sport that you end up excelling in to the highest level?
Yeah. So believe it or not, archery is one of the most common adaptive sports out there. Archery was the original sport for the Paralympics.
Oh my god, fun
Yes.
fact of the day.
Yeah, and it
Wow,
was actually
really?
started at Stoke Mandeville in
Mm.
London or in England, sorry. That's how it started. That's how the Paralympics started,
Will you
was
tell that
archery.
story just really quick, what Stoke Mandeville is? I think that's a great educational moment for
Yes,
our
Stoke
listeners.
Mandeville is one of the probably one of the best, if not the best, spinal cord rehab facilities in the world, and it's in England. That's as far as I know is where the Paralympics started in early 40s.
Yep.
And it started with an archery competition. One of the doctors saw a bunch of disabled military members there. People were coming back from World War II and stuff, and he decided that he didn't want to see them rot away and just not do anything in life, and gave them purpose and put bows in their hands. The next thing they have this big tournament, and that evolved into today's modern Paralympics.
That is incredible. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I love that story.
Yeah. So
Okay.
archery is widely available to everybody because it truly is a sport that you can adapt to you. The bow is just a piece of equipment that wants to be shot. And you can go and research different Paralympians. There's people with no arms that shoot with their feet. There's people that shoot with their mouths. There's people that shoot with shoulder harnesses that they've created or adapted, things like that. And the thing with adapting archery to you is you can't just go to a store and buy these adaptations. It tests your creativity and your imagination, and it really pushes you to come out of your shell and do something amazing. For
Yeah.
me,
Wait, before you go on, I like what you said too about it pushes you to adapt and figure it out. And I'm assuming that translates into life as well. Okay, I have this new body. How else am I going to adapt with it? Okay, so
yeah,
go ahead, cut you off.
no, honestly, and I'll touch up on that because this show will reach out to people who are going through disabilities and stuff like that. I understand that life has changed. I understand that you've gone through a major traumatic injury or event that has put you in a new normal. Some people are born with it, and honestly, I think people that are born with a disability have a better mindset and a better grasp on their life than somebody that goes through a spinal cord injury or goes through an amputation and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm also here for the tough love. I got a lot of suck it up, buttercup,
Mhm.
because Either you're going to let life pass you by, or you're going to go and create opportunities, seek out opportunities for yourself. You're going to have to learn to live a new normal. You're going to have to learn to adapt, because the world is not going to adapt to you for the most part. You're going to have to find ways to adapt to the world and live a new life. And we saw it just that day that we met in Paris. We're trying to get to that lobby, and either we were going to jump some steps to get in, or luckily we found a ramp that was hidden in a step. But that's just the way the world is. You can sit at home and waste away, or you can say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go out and live my life to the fullest. And for me, that was a big thing. I was not just going to sit at home and wallow in despair of, oh, I can't believe I'm in a wheelchair, or this or that. And I took what the doctors told me to heart. And if he doesn't give me a timeline, then that doesn't exist in my mind. I'm just going to live life until one day I wake up and go, surprise, I can move my legs. And if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to wake up one day and say, man, I put thousands of miles on my wheels and lived life to the fullest. So
Oh,
it's
I
just,
love it.
it's just one of those things that you've got to find something. And for me, finding archery was actually a gift that I didn't think I was gonna be able to use. And it all started with recreational therapy when I was going through rehab. My rec therapist was signing people up for the National Veterans Wheelchair Games. And I saw that you just started working with PVA. PVA sponsors the National Veterans Wheelchair Games. They have it once a
Mhm.
year in different locations throughout the country. And it's 700 to 800 veterans that are wheelchair bound, whether it's amputation, spinal cord injuries, TBI, strokes, you name it, they're there. So I went to my first one in 2016 in Salt Lake City. And my journey to that was, my rec therapist goes, okay, we got to pick 5 sports for you. Let's go with air rifles. Let's go with 9 ball. Let's do trap. Let's do bowling. He said, how about we try archery? And I laughed. I said, look, man, I used to bow when I was able bodied, and I shot a bow, and I haven't shot in 4 years, 4.5 years. But I tried to pick up a bow the other day at the store and I fell over. So there's no way I can do that. And I can't do archery. And that led to two of my absolute best friends that have been my mentors through injury. They were sitting in that room that day and they both looked at me and said, we don't ever want to hear you say never. We're going to teach you how to do this. So they strapped me down to a chair, taught me how to shoot. And I wound up going to that wheelchair games in Salt Lake City, and I won my division that year. That catapulted me to another tournament that I signed up for and won that one. And it just kept on snowballing until one day in, I want to say, summer of 2017, I told Courtney, you know what? I want to try this for real. I want to give it a go and see if I can make it to Tokyo. And yeah, the rest is history. I fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with the community. It was very accepting, and the para community that shoot archery and travels with the US team. Half of them are military. So I had my brothers and sisters back. And I also had other people that I was meeting and training with and competing with. But it kept on giving me little milestones that I wanted to reach. So I wanted to shoot better. I got to be stronger. I've got to have more endurance. So I got to go to the gym. I'm traveling to Europe and doing this stuff. I've got to navigate places that are not 100% wheelchair accessible. I've got to make transfers that I'm not used to at home because I've got everything. So guess what? I got to change my diet. I got to lose weight. I got to become more flexible. I've got to get back into physical therapy because I had stopped going to PT. I just decided I was going to live life and let life be my physical therapy. And that's cool. It'll happen. But you've got to have some kind of movement through a rehab center or something. And for me, it just helped me stay healthy, to help me stay injury free, and help me stay mobile. I was knocking out all these goals because archery was giving them to me. And my ultimate goal was to make it to a Paralympic Games.
What I love about that before we get to the Paralympics is What you just said is such a great learning lesson for every disabled person, really any person that's listening to this, is that we're not all gonna be Paralympians. I never was a Paralympian in tennis, but what it does do is help you maintain your body and help you be as proficient in it as possible as long as you can, and I think that is such a powerful lesson, and it is the power of para sports and really just finding something that you enjoy doing that gets you out moving in some way or using your mind or whatever it might be. So I love that you just made that connection because I think it's very important. And from let's talk about gold. Like you make it all the way. First of all, you and Courtney starts, I know the story. Courtney starts becoming an archer herself. You two start traveling around the world doing this amazing being professional athletes, right? Representing our country and being top of the game. And congratulations for number one. That is so cool. You get to Paris, and I'm not even sure if Paris was your first gold or not, so you can say that. But what was it like? Tell us, what was it like winning gold? Let's talk about that for a minute.
So Paris was extremely special because I wasn't even supposed to be there. I had not qualified to Paris through the conventional means. We have 3 tournaments that we can qualify and get a spot to Paris, and I came up short in all of them by 1 point, 2 points. Just heartbreakers that I didn't qualify, but I kept on competing. I kept on going to tournaments. I kept on working on my world ranking, things like that. In my mind, I'm not quitting until the first arrow is shot in Paris, and then I know that I'm not gonna be there. And in June, I got a call that somebody had gotten hurt and had to withdraw from the Paralympics, and I was the next highest ranked archer, so that spot was coming to me. And I got it 6 weeks before going to Paris. I got that call. It turned into 6 hours a day, 7 days a week of training. I finally get to Paris and I felt ready. I felt prepared. I trusted my training. I'd done everything that I possibly could have done. I couldn't, I wasn't out there worried about my equipment because I was confident in that. I just wanted to maintain. So we get to Paris and everybody that I talked to, their goal was, oh, I want to win gold. I want to win gold. And in my mind, I was like, hey, cool. Good for you. I'll be happy with a top 5 finish. That was my goal. Just finish in the top 5, show the world that you were meant to be here. Don't let somebody else's sacrifice go to waste because somebody was suffering by not being there and they had earned that spot. And I understand because that's happened to me before. It happened to me for Tokyo where I couldn't go and somebody else went and I sat at home and watched and it hurts. So I understood that somebody was going through that and I didn't want to let that go to waste. So I just wanted to go out, do well. And when I get down to the elimination day, my matches just, they were going really smooth. I was in a groove. The crowd wasn't bothering me. My mental game was on point. My focus was on point, and I just kept progressing and progressing. And it didn't hit me till after I won my semifinal that, holy crap, I'm going to a gold medal match.
Wow.
I've never been in this position. And this is crazy. I looked at the coach and I said, man, we're going home with something regardless. And he said, yeah, man, you're in the gold. And I think like a minute or two before going out on that stage, I looked at him and I said, you know what? We didn't make it this far to go home second. I'm going to go out there and just lay it all out. And, I went out, shot as best as I could. I had shot nerve free and cool the whole time until my last 3 arrows. That's when the nerves hit and realized that I'm going into this last round ahead. It's up to me to lose it. And that thought came in my head. I shook it off as fast as I could and shot the 3 best arrows I possibly could and came out on top.
Oh my god.
So,
Yeah, for
yeah.
anyone that's like listening to this, you need to go and go to Jason's social media. We're gonna leave all his information, his website, all that on the show notes. Just the images of you shooting and winning and Courtney, just the whole thing is just talk about a picture says about million trillion words. Like it's so incredible. And I think you're such a you're such a kind, sweet person and soul, and I feel like you're just a great representation for us as disabled people and athletes, and just like the way that you portray yourself and give, like when we were in the middle of the street in Paris talking, kids would walk by, right? And we're chit-chatting. You stopped a kid. I think this is my favorite moment of Paris out of everything that we got to do. We're in the middle of the street. These kids are walking by. Jason literally has his gold medal in his pocket. And this little guy or girl, I can't even remember. I think it was a little boy, walked by and Jason stops him and goes, "Hey, you want to see something cool?" And the kid goes, "Yeah." And Jason pulled out his gold medal, which was incredible to see in person. I was a fangirl myself. And these kids, their faces lit up like they were seeing Michael Jordan. Like, it was so incredible what a moment that was for them, and it came from your heart in such a beautiful way, and that impact right there that you're gifting other people they will never forget that moment and how cool and talented you are as a human being. And I think you're such a great representation of that for the military, for humans, for society, for our world, for the sport. So thank you for just like being that type of person. It's so beautiful. Seriously.
I really enjoy interacting with people, and especially kids, because kids are our future. I work with a lot of kids with disabilities here, and I want to shape them up, not just necessarily for archery, but for whatever sport they want to do, because we're not going to be around forever and we need to have replacements. And I want them to experience the things that I've experienced and go out and leave their stamp on the world.
So I love that's part of like your future and coaching and all that you do. What does the future hold? What are your goals? Where are you hoping for all this to go? What's the North Star?
I'm going to continue shooting. I actually fly out to Mexico next week for a tournament.
Oh,
Back at it. And then next year, going to South Korea for world championships
wow.
and a couple other tournaments before that. So just going to take it one shoot at a time and keep grinding and making a name for myself.
You've definitely done that. And I love that, taking it one shoot at a time. That's like a little like hashtag or something. It's really good.
That's
Uh,
like,
yeah. Is there anything else that you want to share?
I always encourage people to reach out and talk to people. Let everybody know that if you're going through something, there's help out there. There's other opportunities for you. Life is not over. One of the things that I live by, and it's something that I told myself when I was going through my transition in my injury that night. And it's a little motto that I've always told myself. And I never like to think, why me? It's more of why not me? I'm not someone more special than the next person next to me. So what makes me feel pity is not something that's going to drive me down. It's going to motivate me to say, you know what? Whatever, man. I was given this injury. I was given this platform because I can handle it and I'm going to make something great out of it. So yeah,
So that's beautiful. That feels like a pushing forward moment. Why not me? I love that. And I think that's a great motto to live by. And that sounds like something that would motivate me myself. So I love it.
good.
Jason, thank you for being my friend. I'm so happy. I'm so happy our paths crossed. Honestly, I can't wait till I get to see you both again. It was such a joy and an honor and so cool to meet both of you and then spend as much time as we did together. I think it was like meant to be. So we'll see where the friendship goes too.
Yeah.
Congratulations on being a gold medalist Paralympian.
Thank you.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. Still hasn't sunk in.
Okay, I'm going to leave all your information in the show notes.
Please.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for being a wonderful human. And thank you to our Pushing Forward community for joining in on this Paralympian gold conversation. And we will definitely see you on the next episode. This has been Pushing Forward with Alycia, and that is how Jason and I roll on this podcast.